The year grows more violent in Louisville. WDRB asked city leaders, is it time for change?
My next question was, given statements from the FOP and the city council about concerns with your leadership, Chief Conrad, do you feel that your job is in jeopardy?
Well, let me answer that. Who the police chief is depends on who I said is the police chief.
Heading into the weekend, one of the big stories will be finally clearing the clouds when we get back into near 60 degrees and a lot of rain in your future. Who could see over 2 inches and when next?
Floats, fireworks, and Santa will take you to light up Louisville.
She was America's mom who always gave good advice.
Here's the way I feel about it, Larry. If you're not having fun, you shouldn't be there.
Saying goodbye to the Indiana-born and Kentucky-bred Florence Henderson.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. I'm David Scott.
And I'm Adrienne Flores. 2 lives cut short by the Thanksgiving Day shootings at Shawnee Park.
The coroner tells us tonight one victim is 26 years old. Michael Carter was hit several times and died of multiple gunshot wounds.
The other person fatally shot, 32-year-old William McGee. The coroner says he died of a single gunshot wound. WDRB's Kyle Mitchell explains today we also learned that more people were hit by bullets than originally thought.
On Thanksgiving Day, Shawnee Park is typically the scene of a relaxing day of football for families.
The Juice Bowl.
But this year, it became a crime scene.
Officers responded to Shawnee Park on report of multiple people who had been shot.
Oh my God! I saw one guy laid out. He was still alive, and there's another guy over there dead. So, like I said, he was shot in the head.
Initially, police thought 6 people had been shot, 2 fatally. But Friday afternoon, LMPD shared that another person was hit in the chaos.
So we have a total of 7 victims from the shooting incident in Shawnee Park.
Police say a dispute took place in another part of the park and someone started shooting. The horror of it happening right in front of families, some of them with young children.
Guy fell, and I went over there to see if I can assist him, but once I got there, I saw that his brains were blowed out.
Police will not say if there are more than one shooter, only that those firing guns were with an outside group.
But it appears that the shooting took place away from that incident and is not related at all to the Juice Bowl.
Video of the scene appearing on Facebook Live, capturing the sound of gunshots. Investigators are taking a close look at the footage, saying it could help with the investigation. LMPD is hoping more people will come forward with videos or information.
We welcome additional information. We need additional help, but I know that our community will help step up and do what's right.
Kyle Mitchell, WDRB News.
It has been 45 years since Louisville has seen such high homicide numbers. Yesterday's shooting drove Jefferson County's murder rate to 112, surpassing the 1971 record of 110.
WDRB's Jessica Bard questioned Louisville's mayor and police chief about why it's gotten so bad and how they plan to reduce the violence. Plus, what they say to families who think criminal behavior has become a normal part of life in Louisville.
Why do you think there has been so much violence in our community this year in particular?
When you take a look at the violent crime in our city, just like all over the country, it usually has a couple things involved. One is illegal drug activity, and 2 is improper use of guns and people's inability to solve problems. So that's an issue. Domestic violence is an issue. Then you have kind of random violence like we saw yesterday that is just not helpful. It's a real national epidemic.
First and foremost, almost 50% of the shootings we've seen have been happening in about 11 neighborhoods in our community. No one wants to have their neighborhood labeled, but we consider these neighborhoods hotspots, and we are focusing our patrol efforts in these 11 neighborhoods in particular. We have identified a number of people that we believe are involved in actually pulling the triggers or having someone else pull the triggers to further their criminal activities. We are working actively with our federal partners, the FBI, the DEA, the ATF, and the United States Marshal's Office, to try to arrest these people, to hold them accountable for the criminal activity that they're involved in. And the third thing that we're trying to do is focus more energy and more efforts on narcotics trafficking and to disrupt the narcotics trafficking that we're seeing in our city. We have had a number of our homicides this year where we may not necessarily know the motive for the homicide, but there is evidence at the scene or information that is developed during our investigation leads us to believe that homicide was caused by someone buying drugs, selling drugs, or trying to rob someone in the process of doing one of those two things.
My next question was, given statements from the FOP and the City Council about concerns with your leadership, Chief Conrad, do you feel that your job is in jeopardy?
Well, let me answer that. Who the police chief is depends on who I said is the police chief. The police chief, Conrad, has my full support. We're hiring a record number of police officers this year and have 28 more coming with a mid-year adjustment that is being presented to the council. So I feel they will approve that expeditiously. What's important is that people get behind the plan that we have and support that plan. Now's not a time when people should be second-guessing or blaming. This isn't a problem of increased violence just in our city. It's happening all over the country. So the best way for us to move forward is to support a good plan, give a reorganization time to work, and work on reducing crime in our community. The chief's responsible for that.
My next question, I interviewed Neil Robertson from the West Louisville Coalition last night, and I asked him specifically, how do you feel that children yesterday saw that violent crime happen right before their eyes? He looked me dead in the eye and said, they're used to it by now. How do you feel that people in your city think that that's normal behavior?
Anytime that people think violence is normal in a community is a symptom of a larger sickness in the community. From a public health perspective, we look at this as people are learning from the environment that they grow up in. And if it's a violent environment and they think violence is normal, or they see that as part of the culture that we live in, that's a problem. And that's not just a problem in Louisville, that's a problem all over our country right now. That's why we try to attack this problem through our safe and healthy neighborhoods perspective, to surround the kids with positive influences. If they're not getting it from their family or somewhere else, we have to try to provide that. And when I say we, I mean everybody in the community. It's not people looking at it, government, and saying this is government's problem or it's the church's problem. We can only move forward when everyone says it's a problem that they're going to get personally involved with. So for people to act like this isn't a problem is disingenuous. For people to say there's no plan, that's wrong. What we need is people to say, here's how I can help.
Jessica Bard tonight. You can see her entire interview with the mayor and police chief by heading to our website, WDRB.com.